Hello, this is Astro Babble, where we babble about astrology. I'm Lynda from Scullywag Astrology,
And I'm Donna from Donna B Astrology.
and today we're talking about the full moon in. I forgot.
Gemini.
I don't have it on my board today, so Donna's going to be
Yeah,
very
it's
much
going to be
leading this
happening.
one.
It's going to be happening at 11:08 p.m. and it's going to be at 16 degrees 1 minute of Gemini. So if you are in the middle of Gemini or in the middle of your mutable signs, you're going to feel this the most.
Yeah. And your mutable signs are Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces. So I'll just bring the chart up. And this is the chart. So yeah, 1601, like Donna was saying at Gemini. And you were going to tell us about the moon mansion.
I am. It is the sixth moon mansion. It is Alahana. I I think that's how you enunciate it. Um, this has got the flavors of Mercury and Venus, the stars, so or the planets. So it's going to have those kind of energies with it. And it is good for battle. It is good for forming armies. It is good to ask for better pay. It is good for a water journey. There's a lot that's good for this. It's a good for um associations will be profitable as well as hunting. So those are all good things that this energy will bring. The things and the activities you want to avoid would be sowing seeds, like planting seeds, borrowing or leaving something with somebody for safekeeping. It is not good for treating wounds, so be careful not to get any. And if you put on new clothes during this mansion or this day, let us know if they get torn because that's what the mansion says it will do. So it's very cool when you know these actually play out because that's what they were written for. Because back in the day, if you had new clothes, it was a big part of your livelihood to get clothes. I mean, they they weren't
Hmm.
just everywhere.
Yeah, there was no fast fashion back then.
Right.
Yeah,
So if you wanted to take care of your clothes, you wouldn't be putting on the new ones today. Or yeah, on the 7th, because we're recording this on December 2nd.
yeah, 5 days prior. Interesting. Very Martian lunar mansion, isn't it?
It is, but it is of the nature of Venus and Mercury, and it's good for yeah, things that are joining together. You want to join these forces together, armies, journeying, associations. So associations in business would be very good, for this mansion.
Hmm. And this full moon is conjunct Mars, which is actually retrograde at the moment. And
Yes,
it
it is Marsy too, in that respect.
and yeah, out of bounds still. We've got a few planets out of bounds. We've got the moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars all out of bounds. So they're all kind of not traveling along the usual path. They're kind of step just outside the elliptical band and doing what they want. So it could make for an exciting full moon. Um, but yeah, Mars up there, it's not a usual Mars. And I see, though, that we do have Saturn sextiling it. It's a wide sextile, but it is sextiling it. Hmm.
We'll be sextiling it in just a few days.
Yeah. Mercury, the ruler of this new moon, will have just moved into Capricorn. And unfortunately, it won't be able to see it. It's what we call inversion to it. So, it could be a bit of a wild ride. Hopefully, that
Yeah.
Saturn will kind of keep a tight rein on some of these things. Mercury's not in good condition either. It's peregrine. So, hmm, interesting.
It's almost like a haphazard kind of a chart where things really aren't working well, they're not connecting. It's much less activity than it was um these weeks that we're in now. I think there was an aspect every day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a slight lower energy, just a little bit lower key, it seems like.
Yeah, I was just looking too. Everything's on one half of the chart too. It's all bound between that Moon Mars, which are both at 16 Gemini, and the Sun at 16 Sag. Yes. Well, shall we do the horoscopes?
Horoscopes would be great. So what other people and everyone will understand what kind of energy and where this is really going to be felt.
We recommend that you read your ascendant sign horoscopes rather than your sun or moon sign. Sun sign is what people are referring to when we talk about somebody's star sign. And if you don't know why you should read your ascendant sign horoscope, we've got a video and we'll link to that here. So,
Exactly. So if Gemini is your first, if you are a Gemini ascendant, this is going to happen in your first house, and it's everything that's you've been working towards because it's a full moon. So it's you start out with a new moon, you get intentions, and then when you get to that full moon, things should start culminating and coming together as far as whatever you're working on. So this will be if you were reading a book, a novel, and this might be a time when you're either finishing it, or if you're writing a novel, this might be when you're finishing it, but it's something to do with you personally. So if you might want to have been working on getting a new job or, you know, finish or tidying up your resume, this is when you would finish it. So whatever it is that you would do personally, you might end up getting your hair cut at this time because it's what you have been working towards to get or to happen in your life, or to have fruition in your life. It's culminating together. So that's what the full moon does, is brings those new intentions to fruition.
very good.
And in the first house, it's what happens to you individually.
Yeah. And if you're a Taurus ascendant, this full moon will be happening in your second house. And the second house is all to do with our income, our personal finances, and possessions. It's our resources, what sustains us. So there could be some sort of high point, culmination, or kind of a harvest to do with things like that. So maybe there's a bonus, or maybe you gifted or receive or maybe even purchase yourself something that's a helpful resource to you.
Very nice. And if Aries is your rising sign, ascendant, this is going to happen in your third house. So the things that you have started back at the new moon are going to be culminating to the full moon. And this has to do with early education. It could have to do with your community, your local community. It also could have to do with, or could have something to do with your siblings, cousins, and extended family, like aunts, uncles, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I definitely could see, like, elementary school concerts, you know, finishing up, and that's where you would see them.
Yeah, that would be a good use of that house.
Full moon.
Yeah. And if you are a Pisces ascendant, this full moon is happening in your fourth house. And the fourth house is our home, our family, particularly our parents. It's also real estate matters, it's our living conditions. So there could be some sort of culmination or high point or harvest to do with that. Might have nothing to do with you, it might be to do with your parents, or you could be settling on a house, or you've just moved into a new place, or I don't know, it can also be the homeland. So in the case of maybe you've been trying to immigrate somewhere, maybe this is when you're notified that yes, it's all been approved, or maybe you've actually hopped on a train or a plane or whatever way you're getting there and arriving.
Very nice. And the next one is if you are an Aquarius arising, this is going to be happening in your fifth house. And this is the house of creativity. It's the house of fun. It's the house of hobbies, big gatherings like sports gatherings. And this is the house of all that. So if you were planning on going to, a holiday event, you very well are probably Aquarius rising.
Yeah, nice. And if you are a Capricorn ascendant, this full moon is happening in your sixth house. And the sixth house is unfortunately not a really good house. It has to do with things like illness and, illness. That's mainly the worst one. But it can be like daily irritations too. And with Mars there, with the moon, it could be that your day to day getting around can be rather frustrating, particularly Mars is retrograde. Mars has its joy in the sixth house. It likes being here because he's a bit of a troublemaker. So yeah, particularly if you're doing a lot of running around, driving, just things might kind of come to a bit of a head. So try and watch that temper. It's also the house of pets. So perhaps this could be, maybe watch the pets too. But full moons aren't necessarily negative, and this doesn't necessarily have to be a negative full moon, but just this is a house, the 6th, the 8th, and the 12th are probably the most difficult houses. So it's also the house of service. So we often see public servants or servants of the people, or like healthcare, like doctors, nurses, firemen, policemen in this house. So it could be a case for some of these people that they're graduating at this time, or, maybe they're been trying to achieve a higher level or something similar. So, yeah.
Interesting. If you are a Sagittarius, this is going to be happening with your seventh house. And this is the house of open enemies. It's also the house of your marital partner or your partner, your significant other. So no matter where they are on that level, this is the house that they're represented in. And this could be, things coming to fruition with if you and your partner are working on something, you might be doing it like in this, period of time because it's the full moon.
Mm-hmm. And if you are a Scorpio ascendant, this full moon is happening in your 8th house of other people's money. So the 8th house is things like insurances, loans, debts, shared finances, shared financial agreements. So there could be some sort of coming together regarding that. Mars is a planet of separation, and it could be quite possibly any time, but just particularly with this one so close to the Mars retrograde, like a financial settlement for like a divorce, because this is also the money of the partner, because it's the second house from the 7th, which is the partner. So yeah, there could be matters to do with shared finances, resources. Or it could be that a loan is approved at this time. With Mars so close to this full moon, I do wonder if it's kind of like it doesn't happen the first time. Like maybe it's like you've applied for a loan and you get it, but you've got to come back and sign a few more documents. You forgot to sign on page 5, so you've got to do that first, or something similar.
Yeah, and if you are a Libra rising, this is going to be happening in your ninth house. And the ninth house has a lot to do with legal matters or publishing, higher education as well, esoteric subjects. And so the things that you've been working towards that you started at that new moon should be coming together at this full moon for you. So if you're a Libra rising, yeah, it's great. It's great.
And if you're a Virgo rising, this full moon is happening in your 10th house. So this is the most visible part of the chart. It's often associated with career, but it's what you're known for. Public reputation, also honors and rewards, but it's also fame and infamy. So if you're misbehaving, it can also shine a light on that as well. So yeah, you might be getting a bit more attention at this time. That Mars there, because Virgo is one of the other mutable signs, your ascendant is actually square this moon, which can cause some tension. And the fact that Mars is retrograde there with full moon could be not necessarily a bad time, but it might be a little bit of a tense time. And it might mean redoing some work. Maybe there's a presentation at work, but you go to do it and, you know, the slideshow doesn't work, or, you know, you've not got the documents, and you've got to go back and get them, you know, and then there's that kind of, you're rushing around, you know, heart rate's increasing, and yeah, but some sort of culmination here. It doesn't necessarily need to be negative, but it is Mars, it is retrograde, it is out of bounds. It is a sign in square to your ascendant sign. So I would just expect that, you know, it's not going to be all smooth sailing necessarily. That's all I'm saying. I'm sounding very negative tonight. But
No, it's cautious. It's taking it, you know, this is not the time to it's not the time to do things without thinking. With Mars there next to that full moon, Mars is responsible for the I can't wait anymore. I got to just do it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and that can get a lot of people into trouble. And this is for all the signs, because that Mars is so close for all the signs. Mars gives you that I don't want to wait. I just want to do it, you know. So check on that, because it is really aspecting closely to Neptune, and this is not the time to
yeah. And I mean, its ruler Mercury can't see it to help out this full moon. So and Mercury is your ruler if you're Virgo rising. So yeah, just doesn't necessarily mean things are going to be bad, but yeah, just don't be.
sure things are clear because of that's so close to that Neptune.
Yeah, just I would expect some aggravation with achieving what you're trying to set out to achieve. That's all. Yeah.
I'm thinking that's a good one. Yeah, and if Leo is your rising sign, this is going to be happening in your 11th house of friends and your wishes. So your hopes and dreams, things that you know set out to do at that new moon should be coming to a fruition. Now, how you know, have you reached your goal yet? You know, that's what I always use the new moon or the full moon for, is that intention that I set out with. I should be halfway there, at least, or you know, mostly halfway there. That's how I kind of judge whether the moon's working for me or not, because it should be. You should have, you know, worked that first half all the way, you know, getting to a goal, you know, of whatever your dreams are, or people that are supporting you. This might be, you know, somebody might be, you know, a friend might come in and, you know, be able to help you finish painting that room that you wanted to, you know, decorate for the holidays or whatever. It's the support that you get from your friends. It's also the you know, your hopes and dreams and that type of thing. So
Yeah. And that's
it's a
probably a
great
good
time.
way to use this Mars being so close to the full moon. Use it, it's energy, use it. But just don't be surprised if it's not all smooth sailing. You might have to redo it. You've forgotten to do this, you know. But yeah, use it for its positive manifestations rather than, you know, aggression or, you know, arguments, etc.
Yeah. If you know where the planets are gonna, the energy is coming from ahead of time, you can kind of mitigate, you know, like, all right, all right, I'm not just going to read this piece of paper just one time. I'm going to read it like 3 times. You know, I want to make sure that I'm clear on the boundaries. I'm going to, you know, and you just check off all those planets that are, you know, causing bad aspects to it. And you're like, wait a second, should I really jump on that elevator? You know, do I have all of my bags out of the lobby to, to go up? Just
Yeah.
recheck, just that's what we're trying to say is it's
Hmm.
a good time to not do anything out of haste.
Yes. Yes. Because Mars is all about haste. And if you are a Cancer ascendant, this full moon is happening in your 12th house. And the 12th house is the house of escape. It's our undoing. So it can be related to things like addictions or self undoing. It can be escapism. It's also places of confinement like hospitals, prisons, retreats. And it's also working behind the scenes. So matters to do with those topics might be coming to some sort of culmination or high point at this time. And yeah, with that Mars there, maybe if you do have some addictive qualities, or if you're trying to maintain sobriety or something similar, might be, a case of like not letting your guard down at that time. But yeah, maybe just be a little bit more cautious or a little bit more on guard regarding those topics
Like
because
they say, awareness is the first step to changing,
yeah, so
and just to be aware.
yeah. And maybe if you do feel like doing something, maybe like channel that Mars, get out there and run or exercise or do something. Yeah. Try to channel that Mars as positively as you can rather than try and allow it to run over everything.
Yeah. This is the house of hidden enemies, where
I'll
some of this
explain.
open enemies. This is hidden enemies. So it's
Yeah.
another reason to be cautious
Yeah.
when the ruler of this full moon is can't see it, cannot
Yeah.
help it
And
on any of the signs.
interesting that the ruler of this full moon will be in the seventh house for our Cancer ascendants too. So interesting.
Yeah,
Okie dokie. Well, Donna, have you got a stone for us?
I actually do. Um, this is an unusual stone, a mercurial stone,
Mhm.
and it is called K2 Jasper.
Oh.
It's this stone is only found at the foothills in Pakistan of the mountain K2. It's that's where it's collected from. If you look at the miners, and I mean, they actually hump these stones down on mules or donkeys or whatever to get them down the mountain. So they're out there. It's granite. It's the white part is granite, and these blue dots, and the blue dots are azurite, and this gives you the quality of grounding. It helps with communication, being mercurial,
Mhm.
and the blue azurite. It's good on the base chakra. It is as well good on the third eye and the crown. So those are the chakras that it works with. It resonates with Gemini, um, the element Mercury. Um, it's good for groups, and I have other ones. I have some of them. I have them marked. I am so afraid that my family, like if I pass away and my family sees these stones, they won't know what they're seeing. So I do have like, I'll like leave the sticker on some of them because, you want to know what they are. And want to know what they're not. So I do have stickers on some of them. But this is K2 Jas K2 as in the letter K. So
Mhm.
it's not spelled out. It's K2. Um, a letter and a number, and it's in representative of the mountain that it's from.
Wow.
Um, it helps dream recall. It also helps with communication, and connectivity with the past.
Oh,
That's the benefits of azurite that's
nice.
in there because it's the azurite is the deposits are in the granite. Like little dots.
Very nice.
And that is called K2 Jasper.
Very good. And you'll be writing an article about that?
I will be writing an article about that.
And that link will be in the description.
Thank you very much. I will get that link to you, and it'll be included in the description. So we have aspects. We don't have as many aspects as we did this last 2 months or 2 weeks. So
yeah, that was a lot. Okay, so the first aspect we have after this full moon will be Sun opposing Mars. And that's going
yeah, we've been talking about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the big aspect, or it's the planet that's drawing all the attention these last kind of couple of weeks and months.
We've been talking about it, and I would listen to Adam Ellenbass that with because Uranus is going to be going into that sign pretty soon, and he was talking about a preview that this Mars stuff, wherever it's hitting in your chart and how it's affecting you.
I didn't think Uranus was going into Gemini until like 4 years. I thought it was
I think it's like
2026 or something. Yeah.
No, 2025.
Oh, okay.
Really? 2026?
Oh,
I could be wrong. But yeah, so whatever is, abrasive or itching you now, is going to be highlighted.
So look forward to it in a few years. For 8 years.
Because you know what it is? It gets you used to that energy. It kind of not really burns like the crap off of you, but just kind of gets you used to that kind of temperature or that kind of movement, or
yeah, it's interesting.
Because I know when Uranus went into Taurus, it was, pretty, it was disruptive for me because I'm a Taurus rising. So if you're a Gemini, and my girlfriend, I have a friend who's a Gemini rising, and very interesting watching her go through, all the things, because this Mars is just it went into Gemini, it's going retrograde in Gemini, and it's staying in Gemini during that whole entire Gemini, that retrograde process. Opposing the sun is, I would think, a little burning.
Might be a day to watch for aggression. We were talking about that full moon, its culmination. It's with Mars, which is out of bounds. It's retrograde. It can't see its ruler at the moment. I mean, I'm not sure when Mercury went into Capricorn. It looks like the day before, around about the 6th of December. Even though Mercury was opposite it, at least they could see each other. And, Mercury as the host could kind of do something to help Mars if needed. Now it's in Capricorn. It can't see it, so it can't help. But yeah, this could be just a tense kind of like just irritable, kind of having to redo things, and you're in a hurry, and it's always when you're in a hurry that you forget something, you got to go back, redo it. Just aggravating. Doesn't necessarily mean horrific or anything, but just aggravating,
Yeah. And when the host isn't there to help, I mean, it's like walking into a brand new house, and you've got to make a dinner, and you have no idea even where the can opener is.
Yeah.
And so the next aspect's going to happen on December 9th, and that is going to be Venus squares Jupiter. There's the both benefics, and there's action to both benefics.
Yeah. I think there's a potential to go a little bit too far, too much of a good thing. But that happens sometimes. Nothing horrific, but yeah, it's just you overindulged, you ate too much, that was too sweet, or had a bit too much to drink, or whatever. Or maybe you were just lounging around watching Netflix when you should have been, perhaps being a little bit more productive. It's just not bad, but yeah, too much of a good thing. I know
With both
you.
benefics, it causes action. It could also, if you use the action, to start something.
I know you like it for health and
I do.
yeah.
Anytime we get the planets that are benefics to us,
Hmm.
that bring us good things, I try to figure out how to spin that to make it the most healthiest. Because if you are from a family that has long life, you have to get that body to that age,
Yeah.
and you want it to be able to work for you when you are 92.
Yeah, no point living to an old age if you know,
Exactly, if you're bedridden.
yeah.
And so finally we get Venus in with Mercury.
Yeah, Venus entering Capricorn on the 9th. So, yeah.
Yep. Now both of them can't see that Mars.
Yeah, yeah. Venus and Capricorn I always think of as a little bit hard-headed. They're not going to put up with too much, what's the word? Nonsense from suitors. Venus can be quite discriminating. It knows what it likes, but it also knows what it doesn't like. And Venus and Capricorn certainly knows what it doesn't like.
Yeah, in Venus and Capricorn is that working. It looks like the person who's, the project manager who's trying to get the thing completed,
Mm,
in a nice way,
mm.
but still wants to work hard.
Yeah, well, they're ruled by Saturn in this sign. So, yeah, you can take it down a notch. It's not a wildly romantic Venus position. It's a little bit more serious. And wherever Capricorn is in your chart, you might have some good luck or, some gifts because Venus is one of the benefics. So you'll have Venus in that part of your chart, bringing hopefully good things, probably for about 3 weeks or so.
Very nice.
Mm.
That is at my midheaven, so I'm cool with that. And the next aspect, the sun sextiling Saturn.
Mhm. This is a good position for, yeah, just knuckling down and getting on with hard work, doing what needs to be done. But you're not feeling bad about it. It's just kind of like, oh, yes, I've got to do this, and this, and just getting in and doing it.
Right. Yeah. And the sextile makes it easily, it makes it it's an easy aspect. It's not the hard ones that
Yeah,
so whatever is gonna transform with this should come a little bit easier to you than you would expect.
yeah.
Just slightly, because it's a small, nice aspect.
Yeah, it's helpful. It kind of helps it all kind of flow a little bit nicer. Like I said, you're not feeling overwhelmed by these obligations. It's like, okay, it needs to be done. I'm going to do it.
And both of those, the sun is in Sagittarius, and that's a fire sign, and Saturn's in its own sign of rulership, so in
Mm,
Aquarius. So yeah, it's there at least I think that's going to be the only clear message, or one of the clear messages. Whatever that happens on that day will be a clear message, a clearer message, I think.
well, yeah, you got fire
Anyway,
and air signs, which are, they're active signs. So good for getting
and they're
stuff
both in
done.
in their they have their own, they're in their own element, so they're going to be acting as naturally as they normally do. They're not retrograde, and neither one of those are out of bounds, which heaven help us if the sun ever goes out of bounds.
Yes. I wonder if Saturn ever goes out of bounds.
I would think, but we don't want the sun going out of bounds. We don't want that moving at all.
Oh, goodness.
I don't.
And then on the 14th, we've got Sun square Neptune. I always think of this as, because Neptune, it can be idealistic and romantic and glamorous and all that, but it can also be deceptive. I often think of this as, are you kind of fooling yourself, being a little bit self-deceptive. I think it's really easy to get carried away with, oh, I'm going to do this and this and this. And yeah, that's not going to happen. And I'm not saying that's not going to happen for everyone, but that's the kind of energy that I get from this aspect. Could also be a little
I
bit
like that.
draining of vitality because the sun is our vitality. Neptune can kind of sap some of that. So yeah, it might be just a really lazy day.
Or, I mean, you could also use this energy. You've got Jupiter kind of close to it, to be considering changing lifestyle habits that you might not want to have any in your life anymore. Like if you drink too much or, imbibe in the other substances too much, maybe this is a time where it's telling you to stop or change it
Yeah,
up a bit.
yeah, yeah.
Could be a good aspect of
If
that.
that's the case, you might need something a little bit. I just think, like I was talking about, that self-deceptive. I think maybe it might be a false start. That doesn't mean it won't happen, but maybe you need another more helpful aspect to kick in before that
Oh,
actually
sure.
happens. Yeah, yeah. I think that Neptune, yeah. I think it could possibly be good for creativity though. Yeah. Good for sitting in a hammock and daydreaming. That's about it.
Not outside my snowy window will I be sitting in a hammock.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. It's quite warm down here at the
But,
moment. Yeah.
in a nice warm chair, in a with a cozy book. Yeah,
In front of a fire.
I
That
could see that.
sounds nice.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That sounds, yeah. But yeah, it is a strong ass. It's not as strong as it can be, but it does require a little bit of action
Mm.
with the moon decreasing in light. You could reduce some things. On the 17th, Mercury trining Uranus. Now, these are two of the planets that are both associated with communication, and the trine is flow, which means it's going to just like go. It's like a slippery slope. It doesn't take a lot to get both of these energies mingling together to, produce something. So Mercury is known for its quickness and fastness, and Uranus is known for its independence. So that's what these could be coming from.
Yeah, I think this is quite a fun aspect. This is, exciting, new, innovative ideas, unusual, maybe even a little bit revolutionary. It's a trine though, so hopefully quite positive. This is fun. This is kind of, uh, I believe a lot of the modern astrologers believe that Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So yeah, this is fun. Some people, if you don't like change, it might be a little bit difficult, but I think this is just changing things up a bit. It's, could be difficult to sleep perhaps this night because, bing, 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 all these ideas going off. So, but yeah, I think this is a fun aspect. It is in an earth sign though, so probably or possibly quite tangible, not so pie in the sky as you would expect, but maybe, really good ideas that you can actually put into, some sort of tangible use. So yeah.
Very nice. Right before Christmas, who couldn't use that kind of
Oh
energy?
yeah.
So on the 20th, nobody's been looking forward to this. Jupiter moves out of its own sign and into Aries for good. So it's not even going to pop back into Pisces for a little bit. It's going to move into Aries. I don't like this just because of the Jupiter is the greater benefic, but it also makes it makes some bad things bigger too.
Mm,
So
yeah.
I'm just when any time a planet moves into a new sign, it leaves a huge impact or a big one. And being Jupiter, it's going to make it huge. Some big things and in the sign of aggression, which is Aries, it could be a big aggression. It could also be, a major heroism as well. You can that's where you would get that energy of, rushing in and saving the family, in a burning house. Be cautious about it for sure. But yeah, the Jupiter and Aries, just it seems like big fire. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah. like Donna said, Jupiter is leaving Pisces, won't be back for another 11 or 12 years because it takes about 12 years for Jupiter to come back to a sign. On the other hand, if you're an Aries, this is good news. And I'm an Aries, so I'm like, yes. It is unfortunate that we do have Chiron in Aries at, it looks like it'll be at 11 degrees at the time, nearly 12 degrees. So when Jupiter does come up to conjoin Chiron, that could be, problematic. But I mean, generally speaking, wherever Aries is in your chart, this is where Jupiter, which is associated with good luck, is likely to bring quite good things to your topics related to the house, the natal house that has Aries in it in your chart. Yeah, it is ruled by Mars, and this Mars is retrograde at the moment and out of bounds. So yeah, it might be a little bit chaotic. Yeah, so Mars will be retrograde till the 12th of January. If we look at the shadow period too, it takes us up to about the 15th of March. But, I think once Mars is direct again, that Jupiter and Aries will be a lot more productive. Could be, like I said, a little bit chaotic, particularly since it's out of bounds at the moment. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not in a sign of that it rules anymore, which is unfortunate. But, I don't think it's the end of the world. Yeah, so it won't be in there for too long either. But yeah, once we get past, say, the 12th of January, hopefully it'll be a little bit more productive.
Right. So in the true cardinal fashion, which is an Aries, get that Jupiter stuff done.
Yeah.
My granddaughter's an Aries too. I have nothing against Aries. My mother is an Aries rising as well. So I have Aries around me.
Mm-hmm.
I am not dogging on Aries. I'm just a little fearful of it. I caught myself. Mars is just it's my most malefic planet. So
exactly. And it's like when Saturn comes up, I'm like, oh, can we move on? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, because I'm a night chart, Saturn's my most difficult because Donna's a day chart. Mars is her most difficult. But yeah, Jupiter, yeah, it was good having it in Pisces, but we're going to have to deal without it being in Pisces or Sag for quite a while. So it could be worse. It could be in Gemini or Virgo or Capricorn. So yeah, just
we'll have to use the smaller knife to cut them tomatoes.
Yeah, but yeah, I think particularly once we get Mars moving direct again, it will be a lot more productive. And on the 21st of December, we have up there, it will be the winter solstice. It's the summer solstice down here. So down in the southern hemisphere, it will be the longest day of the year. In the northern hemisphere, it will be the shortest day of the year. So with the cardinal signs, they're all linked to the solstices or the equinoxes in tropical astrology, which is what we practice. In the northern hemisphere, this is the most dark it will get. From this time forward, it will start getting lighter. It will still be more dark than light, but it will start getting lighter. And down here, our days will start to get a little bit shorter.
Yeah, this is, I think, with the sun in Capricorn, it's the hard work. Capricorn's known for the hard work. And I know in the northern hemisphere here, we're shoveling 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I love the snow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just unfortunate it's so close to Christmas. But I suppose, when you think about it, it's quite a hectic time, particularly if you're arranging things for the holiday season coming up, and lighter days are coming for the northern hemisphere. Days are getting shorter in the southern hemisphere. It's that pivot, it's changing of a season. So happy Capricorn season to the Capricorns.
I like this. It makes me smile because now from that point on, our days are going to get longer.
Yeah.
By a minute. We have reached that peak, and when the sun gets into Capricorn, we finally get more increasing light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it gets dark here around 4:30, 5 o'clock. It's
That's
it
really
is
early.
dark here
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah. So
It's important to us. It is the center of our solar system. And in Capricorn, it's a cardinal sign, and
yeah.
start doing things.
And I mean, we're going to have the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Pluto all in Capricorn. Sun will be there for about a month. And yeah, it'll be shining a light on topics to do with the natal house that has Capricorn in your chart. So,
The next aspect, are you ready to go on to that, is the Sun square Jupiter.
yeah.
It's going to happen on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
So, the benefic, and it's in a new sign. So it's going to want to say, what its agenda is all about. So you might get some rumblings of what Jupiter is trying to accomplish there. It's not going to be there a lot for long, so your lesson, you're going to learn it quicker. That's what that means.
yeah. Well, this is a square, which can be tension. I mean, the sun's in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. So it's an earth sign too. It's solid, reliable, dependable. It wants, things done a certain way. And then we've got Jupiter in Aries. Jupiter likes to do things big. Aries likes to rush ahead and it's impetuous and impatient. So, yeah, there could be a little bit of you want to do something and, something's holding you back. It's just kind of like, it's like little kids. They want to rush out and do something. And you kind of sometimes you got to hold them back and say, hey, there's traffic out there. Just hold on a minute. Shouldn't
Definitely
be.
going to cost some action.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a good time for getting fired up and inspired, I think. But yeah, there might be, yeah, it's just you want to do something, but you can't just yet. Maybe you got to hold on for something. You don't have the money, or you don't have the resources, or you got to wait on someone. And yeah, it's just kind of like, come on, let's do it. And yeah, you got to wait for something. And that Jupiter's ruled by Mars, which is retrograde and still out of bounds. So yeah.
Yeah.
When is this, the 21st? Oh, and all the stress of the holiday season. So yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's almost like, yeah, it's definitely weird how the planet's energy is, as I'm really studying the planets now, and how it energizes us in the past years, is just amazing on how well it works. And on the 22nd, Venus is going to trine Uranus. I think this is a good talk. I think this is, this is Venus and Uranus. This is leveling up for sure. This is leveling up your one-on-one relationships for sure, or even groups. Venus is all about that social thing, and Uranus is about, notching it up a bit. A little bit of independence. If you are not liking the relationship you're in, you'll find you'll be screaming for independence.
Yeah, it is.
But a trine is always nice. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I was going to say, I think with the trine, it might not be quite as negative. I mean, yes, there might be a need for a little bit of more autonomy or independence or whatever, adventure. But I think the fact that it's a trine should be helpful. Yeah, I think this is just, you're kind of excited and interested in the new when it comes to relationships or art or values or socializing, like you said, something a little bit different. Maybe it's somebody that's not quite your type, or you're mingling with people that you don't usually mingle with, or, you're seeing a new art exhibit and it's not quite your style, but you can't, oh, that's interesting. So yeah, it's, a little bit of a buzz.
Little new stuff. You know, I would
Yeah.
think with Uranus, so, a new way of looking at something or a situation.
Yeah, it's nice and it's a trine. It isn't that a planet, so it can actually kind of allow it to kind of exert its influence over Venus a little bit more. I mean, Venus is in Capricorn, which is a pretty no nonsense sign. But this might loosen Venus up a little bit. Have some fun, let your hair down.
Definitely an aspect that is an exciting aspect.
I think so, yeah.
You know,
And that looks like the last one before we have the new moon in Capricorn.
which
Wow.
looks like it's going to have a pile up of energy.
Yeah, look at all that Capricorn. Moon, Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Pluto.
And that'll be
Jupiter.
things that you're a time to start new things. So on the 23rd, you can plan.
It will be squaring Jupiter at the time. So, yeah, could be a little bit of friction there. Maybe people think, slow down, you're going too fast. You're aiming too big. Interesting.
Yeah. With the Saturn ruled signs, yeah, I see that slow down and
And that is the aspects for the full moon in Gemini.
yes.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Lynda, what have you been doing? What are you doing? And where can people get a hold of you?
Why, what have you heard? Yes, I'm at Scullywag Astrology, and that is astrology.scullywag.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest, and I'm doing natal readings, relationship readings, and year ahead readings. And what about you, Donna?
I'm at donnabastrology.com is my website. I am also on Facebook. I'm doing natal readings and electional readings, horary, and I also work with crystals. So if people who you don't necessarily need to be sick. These crystal layouts support people on whether it's a physical kind of support that they need or a mental help that they need, or just want to boost it if they have a big test that they want to get going on. A layout would definitely, I would think, support that. And that's kind of what I do. So you can get a hold of me through either Facebook or my website.
Yeah. So thank you for watching and listening. And if you haven't already, we'd really like it if you subscribed or left a comment. Feel free to share. And depending on, your where you are, happy holidays if you're celebrating. Be safe, and yeah, hope 2023 brings you something good.
Sounds perfect. And thank you very much. And if you happen to put on new clothes on the 7th, please let us know if they survive the day.
Oh my.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.